Shalom, students of Hebrew. We just thank you for joining us, and we pray you'll have a blessed time. And as you can see, this week's lesson is on Yehochanan, which is John 12, verses 41 to 46. So let us begin. And first we look at the chart for the Nikud, the valve markings, and some useful resources. And let us now begin. And as we can see, 41 is represented with a mem, which has a value of 40, and an aleph, which has a value of 1. And let's just quickly do the letters again. Kav, Zayin, aleph, tav, dalet, bet, resh, yod, shin, ayin, yod, hey, vav, bet, resh, aleph, vav, tav, vav, aleph, tav, tav, fei, aleph, resh, tav, vav. And just for anyone who might be new, remembering that the valve mark here is like an O sound, and underneath there it's like an I sound. There's an A sound. There's also like a longer A sound. This is an U sound. Right, so let us begin and just see how we go. Kazot, kazot, which literally means like this, because zot is this. Diber, that means to speak, and spoke. Yeshayahu, Yeshayahu, right? Yeshayahu, Yeshayahu. And it is, of course, Isaiah. Biroto, and the bet is in, and the O at the end is his, and then wrote is from the verb ra'ah, which we see down here. Ra'ah is a kal verb to see, to perceive. And ra'ot can be a masculine noun meaning view, vision, sight. So I just translate it in his seeing or in his sight, right? Et gremamaka tifarto. Now, the root there is tiferet, which is a feminine noun for splendor, glory, beauty, magnificence. And of course, with the O at the end, it's his. So there we say his splendor, his beauty, his magnificence, his glory. So Isaiah spoke like this when he saw his glory. And we just got to learn to identify prefixes, suffixes, what they mean. Remembering that mostly the pronouns are at the end of a word. It just helps us put it together. Right, so now let us read that. And it is kazot, diber, Yeshayahu, biroto, et tifarto. Right. And part B, we have a vav, a yod, a nun, a vet, an aleph, an ayin, a lamed, yod, and vav. So let's read it. Vayinave. Vayinave. Now, by having the prefix, we sort of know it's like a verb rather than a noun, because we might think, we know that now if we look down it, nibe is a PL verb to prophesy, to predict, and we know that navi, and the difference here is there's a yod in it, navi is a noun for prophet. So it means and prophesied, because the yod is like future, and with the vav in front of it, it reverses the tense and makes it a completed action, prophesied. And then it is alave. 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 Someone would say alave. It sounds very similar, right? About, that's the al part, is about him. And the vav at the end is him. Right. When he saw his glory and prophesied about him. Now let's read that. Vayinave. Alev. And now we come to 42, and we see it's represented with a mem and a vet, the second letter of the alphabet. So it's just about remembering the order of the letters, and we can work out their values. And then we have an aleph, a vav, lamed, mem sofit, gimel, mem sofit, mem, nun sofit, nun at the end of a word, hey, sin, resh, yod, mem sofit, mem at the end of a word, hey, aleph, mem, yod, nun, vav, vet, vav, resh, bayet, because of the dot, yod, mem sofit, aleph, kaf sofit, kaf at the end of the word, bet, gimel, lamed, and lamed. So now let's read it. Ulam, ulam. Now, if we look down here, ulam as a conjunction can mean but, however, nevertheless. However, as a masculine noun, it actually can mean whole, portico, entrance. So therefore, we have to know what form of speech it is. And we know that it's like a joining, right? Conjunction, meaning it's adding to the previous one. So it's however, gum can be even, right? Now, gum is a conjunction also, which is interesting. Two conjunctions together. And it can mean also, even, furthermore, indeed. So I've chosen even in this case. However, even, it could be also, right? Even. Min, meaning from, ha, sa, rim. Now, what sa means? Sa is a noun for prince. That's why we call Yeshua Sa Shalom, Prince of Peace. But it can also mean ruler, or it can mean a government minister. So we'll call it the rulers. From the rulers. He'aminu vo. Ha'aminu means they believe, because again, the vav at the end, when it's got the dot there, then it also means, it can mean they. So they believed, and then vo, the vet is in, and the o is him. In him. They believed in him. Then we've got rabim, meaning many, many. And then ak. Now ak can be but. If we look down here, ak is a conjunction. It means but, hardly, scarcely. So let's put it as but. Big lal. Big lal means because of. All right, so in the English it's however, even many of the rulers believed in him, but on account of, so therefore it can mean because of, on account of, right? Big lull. Right, now let's go and read that. Ulam, gum, min, ha, sa, rim, he, minu, vo, rabim, ak, big lull. All right, now we move to 42b. We have a hey. This is a pei, a resh, a vav, shin, yod, mem sofit, lamed, aleph, hey, vav, dalet, vav, lamed, mem, ayin, nun sofit, aleph, shin, resh, lamed, aleph, yod, nun, dalet, vav. And then we have he, ha, perushim, right here. Ha, perushim. Sometimes you say this perushim, or it's ha, perushim. The Pharisees. Lo, not, hodu. Now the u means they, and then it is hod means to admit, to acknowledge. So let's have a look down here. Hoda is a verb to acknowledge, to admit. So we know it means to admit or to acknowledge. Not they did admit or acknowledge. Le ma'an, in order or for the sake So in order, a shear that lo not, that not. You do. Right? They shall be banished. So let's have a look at nuda. It's a verb to be banished, but it also means to be expelled, to be excluded. So you could use they shall be excluded or banished. But on account of the Pharisees, they did not admit it, so that they would not be banished. Now let's read that. Ha peru shim lo hodu le ma'an asher lo yenudu. And now we've got 43, which is a mem, 40, gimel, 3, third letter of the alphabet. And then we have a kaf, yod, kaf, vet, vav, dalet, aleph, nun, shin, yod, mem, sefit, chet, vet, yod, vet, ayin, lamed, yod, hey, mem, sefit, mem, kaf, vet, vav, dalet, hey, aleph, lamed, hey, yod, mem, sefit. And try to get your pace of saying the letters a lot quicker, right? And then you'll start to improve there. Ki, meaning for. It can mean that, but for is how it's translated. Kavod, for the esteem. Kavod, we know means esteem if we look down here. Kavod is a masculine noun for honor, respect, esteem, dignity, glory. For the esteem, in other words, the respect, the honor. And then we have anashim, meaning men, the esteem of men. Chaviv was pleasant. So let's have a look. Chaviv is an adjective. It can mean pleasant. It can mean agreeable, favored, or beloved. So they loved the esteem of men, in other words. The esteem of men was loved or was pleasant. Alehem, meaning unto or to them. Mi kavod, from the honor. From the honor. They translated in English more than the honor or praise, right? So it's from the praise or from the honor, ha Elohim, of the Elohim. So the English says, for they love the honor of men to them more than the praise of the Elohim. And we read it. Ki kavod anashim chaviv alehem mi kavod ha Elohim. And now we come to 44, which is represented with members of 40. Dalet is 4, the fourth letter. Then we have Vav, Yod, Kuf, Resh, Aleph, Yod, Hey, Vav, Shin, Ayin, Vav, Yod, Aleph, Mem, Resh, Hey, Mem, Aleph, Mem, Yod, Nun, Safid, Bet, Yod, Lamed, Aleph, Vet, Yod, Hey, Vav, Aleph, Mem, Yod, Nun, Safit. Now let's read it. Va-yik-ra. Well, we should know that yikra means, and he called, right? So it's a completed action, and he called out. Because there's no pronoun, then we know we can add a he into it. And he called out. Now it's telling us who? Yahushua, Yahushua, or Yahusha. Va-yomar. And he said, basically, Ha-ma'amin. The believers, right? The believer. Because we know that amin means to believe. So the believer, because the he, I guess, tells us it's possibly a noun. So it's the believer. Be, meaning in, that's the bet, me, with the yod. Lo, not, the, not in, again, me, not in me, who, he or he is, ma'amin, meaning believing. As we look down here, he'amin is a verb to believe in, right? So now we see the English, and Yeshua called out and said, the one believing in me does not believe in me. Right, and let us read that. And it is, Vayikra Yahushua Vayomar Ha-ma'amin Bi lo vi hu ma'amin. And part B, we have a kaf, a yod, and a lef, a mem sofit, a bet, a shin. I put an arrow there because that dot should be more or less the vowel mark, not a dot on here. Right, and this is a med, a chet, and the left, a tav, a yod. And where there's a dot in the shin there, it's often like almost like a double shin sound. So let's have a look. Now, as I've put here, this is ki, and then we've got im. Now, generally when these two come together like that, then they have a simple meaning of like but. Ki, im, but. Ba, sho, le, ach. So this is bashaloach. Bashaloach. Shaleach, sorry. Ba, sho, le, ach. Right, in the transliteration. Ba, sho, le, ach. Meaning in, that's the bet again, right? In the one who sent. But in the one who sent. And then we have ot, meaning me. From the previous verse, he does not believe in me, but the one who sent me. And I just repeat the ha, sholei ach is a noun for the sender. The one who sent, or the sender, right? And now let's read that again. Ki, im, ba, sho, le, ach, ot. By reading it a bit slower, we make sure that we pronounce it properly, instead of rushing through it. And then we have a mem and a he. A he is the fifth letter, so now we get 45. Then we have a vav, he, resh, aleph, he, aleph, tav, yod, he, vav, aleph, resh, aleph, he, aleph, tav, shin. Again, the same story. That dot should be over there a bit more. There's lamed, chet, and yod. So let's read it. The ha-ro-e. So what does that mean? And ha-ro-e. And the one seeing. Because ro, with the cholam up there, it means it's like a participle, right? So we know it stems from ra'ah, to see, to perceive. But ro-e, as a masculine verb, it means seeing. And ro-ah is a feminine verb, meaning seeing. So I just thought I'd add that. So therefore we know that we're looking at a masculine verb. The one seeing, ot, me, who, he or he is, ro-e, meaning again, seeing, masculine verb, et, grammar marker, shol, chi, So what's sholchi? We know shalech is a sender. And then in this case, the yod at the end is my sender. He is seeing my sender. And a grammar marker in front of it. The one who sees me sees the one who sent me. That's another example where Yeshua says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Now he's saying the one who sees me, he sees the one who sent me. Because Yeshua and the Father are one. Amen. Right, now let's just read that. V'ha-ro-e oti hu ro-e et sholchi. Right, now we move to 46a, and we have a mem and a vav. Now the vav is the sixth letter of the alphabet. So when we know the order of the letters, then it's much easier to work out the actual number system, 46. And then we have an aleph, a nun, a yod, a vayet, an aleph, a tav, a yod, aleph, lamed, hey, ayin, vav, lamed, mem savit, lamed, hey, yod, vav, tav, aleph, vav, resh, lamed, mem, ayin, nun savit, kaf, lamed, hey, mem, aleph, mem, yod, nun savit. Now let's read it. Ani, meaning I. Va-ti, I came. See, the T at the end is I, and we know that va is to come, right? I came. El-tu, ha'olam, meaning the world. Li-yot, li-yot, to be, comes from haya, so it means to be. Or, which is light. Le-ma'an, so that. Kol, now in this case, because it's a closed syllable, there's no vowel following it, this sound, which would normally be an A, is an O sound. So it becomes kol, meaning all. It's not much different to saying it with an A sound, which is kol, but now it's kol, meaning all, and then ha, ma, a, min, all the believers, so that all the believers, I've come into the world to be light, so that everyone who believes, or all the believers. See, down here I actually gave you this for liot. The root of it is haya, which is a kol verb, to be, to exist, to happen, to become. So now let's read that, and we get ani vati el ha'olam liyot, or le'ma'an kol ha'ma'amin. Right. So reading it at that pace, at least you hear it properly, and it's going to be easier to repeat that. So now we come to the letters of part B, and it is a bayet, a yod, lamed, aleph, yod, shin, vayet, bayet, chet, shin, kaf sofit. And we have B, because this is an I sound, right? B, in me. Lo, not. Yeshev, shall dwell. When it's Yeshev, will dwell. If it was Shav, it would be return, right? Yeshev is shall dwell. Ba, in, choshek. Ba, choshek. Ba, choshek, which is in, that's the ba, and choshek is darkness. So everyone who believes in me shall not dwell in darkness. And I've got here, shav was a kol verb, to return, to repeat. Whereas yashav is a kol verb, to sit, to live, to dwell. So we need to just remember those, because otherwise we'll be confused every time we see it. Right, now let us read that. And it is, Be lo yeshev b'choshek. And now as we come to the end of that, we now want to see what we can remember from that, or what we've learnt. And we see first we have a mem, value of 40, and a lef, value of 1. So we're in 41. Kazot, like this, diber, spoke, Yeshayahu, Isaiah. Biroto, in his seeing, et, grammar marker, tif'arto, meaning his esteem, or his splendor. Like this spoke Yeshayahu in his seeing, grammar marker, his splendor. Vayinave, and prophesied Lev, about him. And prophesied about him. And we have a mem 40, ve 2. Ulam, which of course means, however, we'll use that. Gum, also, or even, min, from, ha-sarim, meaning the princes, the rulers, he'eminu, they believed, vo, in him, rabim, meaning many, but, big lal, on account of, because of. However, even from the rulers, they believed in him, many, but because of. And it is ha-perushim, which is the Pharisees, of course. Lo not hodu, they did acknowledge, admit. L'ma'an, so, or in this case, in order, or for the benefit, in order is probably better there. Assured that, lo not ye nu do, they shall be excluded, or in this case banished as well. The Pharisees, not they did, right, so we're talking about the princes that believed, because they didn't admit it, because of the Pharisees, not they did admit, in order that not they shall be banished. Of course, that means excluded from the temple, say, or the congregation, or whatever, right? And then we have a Mem 40, Gimel 3. Ki, for, kavod, meaning the esteem, the honor, the respect, anashim, of men, chaviv, chaviv, meaning they, it means to be pleased with, to love. Alehem, unto them, mi kavod, meaning from the esteem, or from the honor, of ha-Elohim, of Elohim. So let's see how that's translated. For the esteem of men was pleasing to them, from the honor, which means more than the honor, of the Elohim. And then we have Dalet, which is the fourth letter of the alphabet. So we're in, so hang on, we're supposed to have also a mem in front of that. Sorry about that. So it means 44. Vayik Ra. And he called out Yahushua Vayomar. And he said, Ha Ma'amin, the believer, be in me, lo not thee in me, who he is ma'amin, believing. And he called out Yeshua and said, the believer in me, not in me, he is believing. And then we have ki, im. So those two together can mean but. Ba, sholeach. But in the sender, in the one who sent, in the sender, oti, me, the sender of me, or the one who sent me. But in the one who sent me. And then we have a mem, 40, hey, 5. We're in 45. Vaha ro a, which means the one seeing. The one seeing ot, again that means me. He, or he is, ro a, seeing, et grammar marker, shol chi, meaning my sender, or my sender, that'll do. And the one seeing me, he is seeing, grammar marker, my sender. They'll normally translate as the one who sent me. And then we have a mem 40, a vav 6. Then we have ani, I, vati, I came. El, to, ha'olam, the world. Li, yot, to be. Or, light. Le, ma'an, so that. Kol, all. Ha-ma'amin, the believers. I came to the world to be light, so that all the believers be in me. Lo, not yeshev, meaning to dwell, or to be, to sit, to dwell, ba choshek, meaning ba is in choshek, darkness. In me, not shall dwell in darkness. Right, now let us remember these vowel marks. When we have a dot next to, like in the vav, we'll see it next to the vav most often, and it's called a shuruk. And the oo sound is what we use as its sound. So it's an oo sound. And then we have the same here, kubutz. That's a kubutz. It's got an oo sound. This is a kataf segol. So it's a combination of two. First we have a shava, which is often the end of a syllable, and therefore it's followed by a segol, which has the sound se, segol. And then we have a chirik, and that's an I sound, like chi, e. And there's a kataf patak, it has a short A sound, pa. And then we have a kataf kamatz, which has a longer A sound, ka. Okay, that's enough for that. And I believe, right, we were using mem for 40. And then, of course, we just go back to the standard 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. So I think we were doing, I forget which one now, but as you can see, it's simple enough. You just take the letter there and you add the order of the numbers right up to 9. And then you go to the next one. So we're at 40 now, which has a value of, the mem has a value of 40. Then, of course, we've got a nun value of 50, samek a value of 60, ayin a value of 70, pay, or they call it pev, but we call it normally pay, a value of 80, and zade, a value of 90. And again, I've repeated the betamashia.com, very useful resource for practicing, because it has transliteration that mostly it is correct. And then, of course, we also, a very useful tool is Do It in Hebrew Dictionary, because, of course, with the Brit Chadashah, the New Testament, there is no Hebrew lexicon like we use. It's only in Greek. So the Old Testament, all right, we have the Hebrew lexicons and that, so we can look it up. But Do It in Hebrew Dictionary is useful, very useful in working out the meanings. So we like to thank you for joining us, and we wish you again a Shavua Tov, and may you come again. Goodbye.